back to Solozaur Cooking. I'm Alex and today we're going to be making a Valentine's Day 2-course meal dinner. Given the current situation around the world, we're probably going to be spending it at home. So getting bailed out by going to a fancy restaurant is slim to none. Yeah, you could order takeout, but isn't that what we've been doing for the past 10 months? No, we're better than that. So tonight's menu is made out of a chicken roulade with a pea puree for the main course, and for dessert we're making lava cake with some orange zest flavor. So let's start cooking. Right, so we're going to start with the pea puree because it can be cooked in advance and reheated before serving. So bring to a boil a pot filled with water and 1 teaspoon of salt. As it starts to boil, add 450 grams or 1 pound of frozen peas. Just add them straight from the freezer, no need to thaw them beforehand. Wait for the pot to come back to a boil and then boil them for 5 minutes. Drain them and run cold water over them. After that, place them in a bowl filled with ice cold water until you're ready for the next step. This stops them from cooking further and preserves the vibrant green color. Next up, we'll need about 200 milliliters or 7 ounces of chicken stock. I use the bouillon cube. In a blender, add drained peas, turn it on, and while it's running, slowly add the chicken stock and let it do its thing. You might need to stop and scoop the sides a couple of times. When it starts running smooth, stop it and add 50 grams or a quarter cup of butter and blend well. Taste for salt and then set it aside. For the roulade, I'm using chicken leg quarters. Using a sharp knife, follow along the bone and start making cuts to expose and remove it. Focus first on cutting the meat around the thigh bone and then continue cutting along the bone of the drumstick. Then cut underneath the joint to release it from the meat. This leaves just the meat on the end of the drumstick. Cut it right before the end and the bone is out. Now make shallow vertical and horizontal cuts along the whole surface of the meat. Sprinkle with ground pepper and sea salt. Then on each of these add 2 heaping teaspoons of roasted pepper red pesto, a slice of Emmental cheese, and 3 spinach leaves with the stems cut out. To roll these bad boys, start from the side with the spinach. Be firm but not too tight so the pesto doesn't seep out. Now take some butcher's twine or any oven-safe string and tie each piece in 3 to 4 segments. Once tied and secured, salt them generously. Now place them in a pan on medium heat with a bit of oil and proceed to sear on each side for a total of 3 to 5 minutes or until golden. We're not looking to cook them completely because we're going to turn them skin side up and transfer the pan in a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius or 400 Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes. Now I'm using an oven safe pan, so make sure yours is too, but if not, you can transfer them in an oven tray that has been sitting inside the oven while it was preheating. When the time is up, take the pan out and let them cool off for about 10 minutes. Now, to plate this dish is pretty straightforward. Start by trimming the ends of the meat and then cut it into 3 equal pieces. On a plate, add 3 heaping tablespoons of the puree and run the back of a tablespoon to create a nice line in which we'll add our chicken roulade facing up. Then garnish it with some thin slices of Fresno chilies, yellow cherry tomatoes, and finish it off by sprinkling flaky salt on top. That's the main course sorted. Now let's switch to the dessert. Lava cake is a pretty popular dish served in restaurants, especially during romantic dinners. It's surprisingly easy to make as long as you follow the steps. Let's start by prepping the ramekins. Butter them on the inside and make sure they're well coated. Next, add some flour and move it around to coat all the sides of the ramekins. Remove any excess and let's move on to the batter. Start with an 80% dark chocolate bar of 80 grams or 2.8 ounces. Chop it into pieces with a knife and add it into a microwave-safe bowl. To that add 60 grams or 4.2 tablespoons of butter and melt them in the microwave for 1 minute. Depending on your microwave, it might need a bit more time, but do it in 30-second intervals to avoid burning the chocolate. And this is how it should look. Set it aside and in a separate bowl add 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk. Start beating them with a hand mixer, and once it starts to get a bit foamy, add 20 grams or 5 teaspoons of sugar, a pinch of salt and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now for the orange flavor, I'm adding half a teaspoon of a 50-50 mix of sugar and orange zest that I got from my mom. You can add 1 teaspoon of orange zest for similar results. Continue mixing until it's nice and smooth. Now bring in the chocolate and mix them together. After that, fold in 9 grams or 1 tablespoon of flour. Then pour it evenly in the ramekins. Use a pan to make it easier to move, and place them in a preheated 220 degrees Celsius or 430 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes. But it depends a lot on the size of the ramekins you're using, so do a test run before the date night, just to make sure you get it right. And let them cool for just a minute before plating, which is super easy. First step is to release it from the ramekins. For that, run a knife around the edges and then place a small plate on top of it and turn it upside down while still holding contact with the plate. Gently lift the ramekins and bam, perfect release. Add a dusting of powdered sugar on top of it, and on the side place a scoop of raspberry sorbet ice cream and garnish it with 2 pieces of preserved orange peel. And there you have it, a delicious date night dinner menu that is sure to beat anything you'll be able to order. If you enjoyed this, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more. Bye bye!